writing of this screenplay, and this is a pure joy to read Aaron Sorkin's writing, and a lot of things we can learn from and look at specifically here. The first I want to look at is this cold open hook. It's one of the best of all time. And I went back last night and watched this scene that I hadn't seen in years, and it is word for word. I mean, you could literally hold up the screenplay next to your TV and follow along, and it's word for word, including in the beginning when we start over black and you hear Mark and Erica talking, and then fade into the campus bar, and then the screenplay here gives us a description of Mark and Erica, and then it does something really surprising and bizarre. It actually tells us about the mood of the scene in the action line. It says, the scene is stark and simple. And I don't think here he's talking about the scene as in the bar scene. I think he's talking about this scene that we're going to create here. This scene you're watching is a stark and simple scene. And it is. It's two people bang, bang, bang across the table from each other playing tennis. Volley, 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 spike. And that's what happens here. And it's this classic Sorkin dialogue that sets the tone for the entire screenplay. What's amazing about it to me is once we get past the introductions, we have 8 pages of dialogue, and there are only three action lines in 8 pages. And not only that, they're so small. They're 1-line action lines or half a line action lines. This is really all about the gamesmanship of dialogue, back and forth, back and forth. It's a really cool scene, and you should check it out if you haven't seen it in a long time. Here's some of it now.
Making a comment on your parents. I was just saying that you go to BU. I was stating a fact, that's all. And if it seemed rude, then of course I apologize.
I have to go study.
You don't have to study.
Why do you keep saying I don't have to study?
Because you go to BU. You want to get some food?
I am sorry you are not sufficiently impressed with my education.
I'm sorry I don't have a rowboat, so we're even.
I think we should just be friends.
I don't want friends.
I was just being polite. I have no intention of being friends with
I'm
you.
under some pressure right now from my OS class, and if we could just order some food, I think we should...
Okay, you are probably going to be a very successful computer person. But you're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
And while we're here, we'll look at these character introductions because there's some things we can pull from this and see if they hold up 15 years later. We'll start with Mark. It says Mark Zuckerberg is a sweet-looking 19-year-old whose lack of any physical intimidating attributes masks a very complicated and dangerous anger. He has trouble making eye contact, and sometimes it's hard to tell if he's talking to you or to himself. It's outstanding. And honestly, it's more of a description of Jesse Eisenberg than it is of Mark Zuckerberg. But it nails this character. And one of the things we want to do with our character introductions is put out some good bait for our actors, we want people to be interested in playing this character rather than just describing them physically, what they're wearing, what they look like. We want to go, this is your chance to give us some internalization, some interiority. You can this is where you do it rather than in the scene where you're telling us something that we can't see. Here you can do it. You can tell us about this character. Who is this person? You get a little 2 or 3 line freedom here to dive into the psyche. And it's important because you want an actor to read that and say, yep, I can embody that. That's who I've been wanting to play. I've been looking for this character. All right, let's see how he does here with Erica. It says Erica, also 19. So notice he doesn't do the parentheses with the age. He writes it out like sort of in a prose style. It says Erica, also 19, is Mark's date. She has a girl next door face that makes her easy to fall for. At this point in the conversation, she already knows that she'd rather not be there and her politeness is about to be tested. Okay. I don't know if this one holds up 15 years later. It's obviously good writing, but now I think if he wrote this, he wouldn't focus so much on her face, and he probably would have dove more into the complexity of this character rather than just her being polite, because she's not a one-off character. She shows up again later in the screenplay, and she's the beginning stimulus to this. This is what kicks off the evil empire of meta, this rejection. Although, to be honest, This didn't happen. It did not happen. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg was dating his longtime girlfriend before coming up with or stealing the idea of Facebook, and they were together for a long time. They may still be together. No, I think he's single now. I don't know. I don't keep up with billionaire gossip, but I do know that this didn't happen. But that's okay. Biopics are giving us character-driven stories so that we understand the specifics of what happened, and that's what took place here, and makes for a very interesting scene. The point here that Sorkin's trying to make is that Zuckerberg was not the person he wanted to be. He was not the popular person that was being courted by all these clubs in Harvard, and he struggled with that. He struggled with his self-identity, with his self-awareness possibly, but he was also a genius, and that combination can be dangerous, as he says in the character introduction. And anytime someone can play a dangerous character, that's a win. If there's anything that you can take specifically from Sorkin, it's this next thing.